Hey, gang. For those of you that are still here, I had a brain fart tonight. Straight up. I've been live on the channel, but I have been live on a completely different stream. So bear with me half a second. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but when I went live, I clearly pushed the wrong button. Straight up. Okay. So let me just delete that other stream and get rid of it so that people aren't like starting out thinking, what the heck was that? Okay. Fortunately, I don't think anybody watched it because, all right. So, man, I am so sorry. Literally, I pushed the wrong button. I have no good excuse. All right. So look, thanks for joining me tonight. We'll make this kind of quick, right? Week three of our discussion about websites and the business of marketing. For those of you that really aren't into all this business and marketing stuff, number one, thank you for tolerating it. Number two, this is the last week for a little while. We're going to take a break after this and get back to straight up taking pictures, which of course is the fun stuff, right? There's still more business stuff we need to talk about. I will get back into the business stuff like over the summer. We'll mix some of it in. I've gotten a lot of really good questions sent to me over the last few weeks that are really worth us getting into. Okay. So somebody noticed, David noticed I posted a link to ClickCon. So I must be having technical troubles. Yeah, my technical troubles were my brain tonight. But let me just go ahead and mention for you guys, because I'm excited about this. I'm going to be presenting live and in person at ClickCon this year. So it's June 21 to 23 in Chicago, Illinois. The really cool thing about an event like ClickCon, it's all about you, the photographer, the attendee, getting hands-on experience. I'll be doing 3 presentations over the course of ClickCon. Each of them is 2.5 hours long, and the majority of that 2.5 hours is you taking pictures. One, I'm going to be doing a photo walk, shooting beauty on location. Some of you may remember I did a similar photo walk like this in Chicago a couple years back with Manny Ortiz. We're going to be going out on the streets in Chicago and finding backgrounds that work, lighting that works, and shooting really, really cool beauty images. In addition to that, I'm also going to be doing a talk all about color, the use of color, how powerful color is. You got to understand, color is one of the most powerful tools that we have as photographers to be able to impact, control, well, maybe not control, influence the experience that people have when they look at our images, right? And it's not just as simple as pick your favorite color or use bright colors. So I'm going to break it all down. I'm going to share with you the secrets, the way that I go ahead and choose colors, the way that I manage colors, my thought process behind it, all of it. So that talk, it'll have a little bit of science, it'll have a little bit of technique, and it's going to have a lot of shooting for you guys. And I am going to do one lecture while I'm there, which will not involve shooting. We're going to do that on the last day, and it's all about marketing, right? Because it's cool to have all these neat skills, get in lots of practice. But I figure by day 3, everybody's going to be tired. They're going to be worn out. So we're going to give them an opportunity to sit down and really hone their marketing skills. And we're going to touch on everything that you need, from website stuff like we've been talking about. We'll be talking about social media, all of it. Okay. So there is a link that's in the chat. You can scroll up a little bit. I also put the link to the website there. But if you use the discount code Edelman 15, you get a discount when you sign up. So make sure you use that. It's not an affiliate link. I don't make any money, but I do hope if you have the opportunity that I will get to see you there. Okay. So all the other stuff that I shared with you, the Visual Storytellers Conference, Good Light Magazine, all that stuff, it's in the description below the video. I'm not going to go back through that since I've already wasted a bunch of time talking to myself. Again, I apologize. Thank you for hanging in there. So content and content generation or content creation. You'll hear those two used, kind of interchangeably along the way. It's kind of buzzwords, buzz phrases that we're hearing a lot of today. A couple of years ago, it was all about personal branding. Everything you read about, oh, it's personal branding this, it's personal branding that. And, things, let's face it, things tend to kind of catch on, creates an awareness. Everybody talks about it. Content and content creation has been a thing forever in marketing, right? Ever since I've been into photography, it's been a thing. Now, it's evolved because obviously when I started in photography, there was no internet, right? And marketing was done in the yellow pages and word of mouth because, yes, I'm that old, okay? But now we have this thing called the internet, which is an amazing tool. It straight up is an amazing tool because it actually makes all of this marketing stuff that we need to do as photographers, it makes it easier and it makes it faster. The downside, if you will, is you have to put some words to it. It's not just about taking pictures, right? So obviously, few of you, if any, bought your first camera because you wanted to be a writer. But if you want to make money or if you want to build a following, again, it doesn't matter if you're doing this for business or if you're doing it for fun. If you want to make money or build that following, you got to do some storytelling. You got to give people a reason to care about your photography. And of course, you better be improving your photography and creating great images. So the idea of generating content is extremely important to every photographer. And sorry to say, generating content doesn't just mean taking pictures and taking lots of pictures. In fact, you need to take lots of pictures because that's practice, that's skill development, that's building out your portfolio. But you've all heard me say it many, many times. When it comes to showing off your work on your website, on social media, whatever, you can look like a rock star with 5 pictures and you can look like a hack with 10. So the more pictures you use, the more pictures you share and show, you have to make sure that you are getting the practice in, that you are improving your skills, and that you are being more particular in your selection if you want people to perceive your work as having value. The value to follow, the value to learn from, the value to pay for, right? That's really, really important. So since we've been talking about kind of the web and websites for the last couple of weeks, I want to start with website content. What do you need on your website? And I'll tell you right now, this is a topic that is divisive, believe it or not. I obviously attend lots of learning events, trade shows, conventions, all this kind of stuff. And there are lots of people that are teaching topics on business, marketing, social media, website development, etc. So just like what's the best modifier to use or which is the best camera brand, there are differing opinions on what kind of content you need, differing opinions on, social media, how often should you post, all of that kind of stuff. Your challenge is not to listen to all of this stuff. Your challenge is to listen to some of this stuff. Identify the educators that you trust the most. Because, we're talking about the business side of this now, marketing side of things. So it's not about the coolest photographers, the best photographers. I assure you, I promise you, just because somebody's an incredible photographer doesn't mean they're a good marketer. Not even close. Okay? So you find one or two so that you have a, shall we say, second opinion. And then you have to get your head wrapped around what you're learning from them and make some decisions and then do. So I'm going to give you my advice. It is advice that has served me well throughout my entire career, even before the internet, because the internet didn't really change things. It just changed the way we do it, but it didn't change things when it comes to getting people to hire me as a photographer, right? So let's start with a website. Basically, as a photographer, your website is, you could probably better think of it as a brochure. Legit, it's a brochure. If we want to use web terminology, it is a landing place. I'm not going to say landing page because your website's going to be more than one page. but it's a landing place. It's a place where once people have found out about you, meaning to get to your website, they've already found out about you. Think about this. I mean, honestly, gang, building a website, when you first build it, it's not like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. No, not even close. Building a website is essentially like putting a billboard up in the middle of the desert. Nobody's going to see it unless you direct people to it. You direct people to it by your use of social media. You direct people to it by getting listed in Google, in various directories, depending on what you shoot and where you shoot it, etc. Right? So the website needs to contain some basic information. And by the way, just a little disclaimer, because I know that inevitably, if you come back and check on this video by next week, there'll be at least 6 people that are going to write dissertations in the comments about their business model and why it's different and why they need more than what I'm talking about. There are exceptions. So those of you that feel compelled to do that, save yourself the trouble. It's not that I don't care. It's just that there's not value in that. We're talking about people that either don't have a website or need to get their website squared away so that it can actually help them. If you're at a point where you're going to write that dissertation of all the things that you have on your website and why you need it, obviously you've already gone through the learning curve. And that learning curve, it's in a niche, right? It's in a very specialized piece of photography. Good for you, because you've done the hard work, you've done the learning, and you've made the mistakes. But please, I will likely wind up deleting the comment only because I don't want to confuse the people that are at the beginning of that learning curve. We need to take steps. That's all, okay? So the basic stuff that you need is obviously your portfolio. You need your best images. Now, one of the questions I commonly get is people will say, well, listen, I'd like to do high school seniors. I'm going to give you an example. So you may need to connect some dots, right? Come on, guys. But people say, well, I'd like to do high school seniors and I want to do weddings and I'm going to do some portraits and I'm going to do business portraits. And I've only been shooting for a couple of years. So I've only got one wedding under my belt, which that translates to I don't have a lot of sample images, right? And I've done a bunch of portraits, which translates to, okay, I may have, a decent amount of those. And I've only done a couple of high school seniors, which means, well, I probably only have a few of those. So should I do a separate gallery or portfolio for each one of those topics, or should I mix them together? And it's a great question, because the rookie mistake is that since you are going to target those 4 categories, new photographers will feel compelled to have a gallery dedicated to each of those categories. And then they feel compelled, well, I need to at least have like 10 or maybe 12 images in each gallery, which means they're putting junk in the galleries because they don't have 10 or 12 images that are rock star images for each of those categories. So the first thing about putting your portfolio together, gang, and it's hard. I still struggle with this. It never really gets easy. Sorry, but it doesn't, because we're emotionally attached to our photography. But you have got to be tough on your images. You have got to look at them with the discerning eye of someone who didn't take them. And by the way, not another photographer. Do not ask your photography friends to tell you which pictures to put in your portfolio. Like, really? Bad idea. Because what the hell do they know? They're not buying your work, right? So they're the wrong people to ask. If you're going to do market research, you need to talk to real potential customers, not your friends, not your relatives, and certainly not other photographers, because they're clueless. All of us, right? Done. Now, you need somebody, if you're going to do that can look at it as a customer with a discerning eye. But if you don't have 10 or 12 amazing images for each of the 4 categories, just do one portfolio. One portfolio. And it's going to have a couple wedding images. It's going to have a couple high school seniors. It'll have a couple portraits. It'll have a couple business portraits. Simple. Over time, you will expand that portfolio and potentially create separate galleries. But don't get ahead of yourself. You'll simply shoot yourself in the foot, period. The next thing that you have to have on the website, and I'm going to take these out of order, so they're in no particular order. Contact page. That's an easy one, right? Contact page, you need people to be able to get in touch with you. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that beginners make with their website contact page is they just stick up a form. And sometimes they even make big mistakes on the form. So let's come back to the form. You can't just put a form on a page. And you shouldn't just have an email link. And most of you are going to say, oh, I don't want to put my email link on there because then I get all kind of spam. And do me a favor, if you're going to try to make money as a photographer, don't be the one that uses the ASCII characters so that it spells out DOTCOM at the end of your email address. Put your damn email address on the page with a link. Are you going to get spam? Yes, you are. That's what that little spam button is for at the top of your email interface. When the spam comes in, you just click on it, right? And the fact of the matter is, except for the, I just inherited $500 million and I want to share it with you emails, except for those, most spam that you get today, if you click the unsubscribe link, legit, you get unsubscribed. Done. So do that with caution, but the point is, put your email address on the page. So you're going to have a form. You're going to have an email address. And you need to have a phone number. Period. Right? If you don't want to pay for a second line, if you don't want to pay for a second phone, if you don't want to give away your personal number, that's fine. One of the things you could do is for I think it's like $10 a month, $7 a month, something like that. Get a Google Voice number and then just have it redirect to your phone. Use that for your business number, right? There's multiple ways to do it. There's apps now where you can add a second phone number to your phone, iPhone, Android, doesn't matter. There's all kinds of ways to do it, but put a phone number there. If a client wants to pick up a phone and talk to you, they need to be able to pick up the phone and talk to you. And even if you're shooting part-time, so you're a part-time shooter, you can't answer the phone at work during the day. I got you. I know that happens. Then you do want to spend a couple bucks, get that second line so you can have a second voicemail. And on that second voicemail, okay, you basically want to tell people, sorry that I missed your call, and you can tell a little bit of a white lie if you want. Sorry that I missed your call. I maintain a very busy schedule. It may take me a few hours. It could take up to a day, but I will return your call within 24 hours. Always on a voicemail, set realistic expectations, okay? Realistic expectations. Don't do the I'll get back to you. Think about how you feel when you get that, that voicemail message from somebody. It's like, yeah, and I'll get back to you. Leave your message and I'll get back to you. When? Am I going to hear today? Am I going to hear next week? Next month? When? Set an expectation. Makes people feel better. So we've got a form, which you're going to get via email. We've got an email link. We've got a phone number. Now, depending on what categories you're going after business-wise, you should even encourage people to text if they wish. So if you're going to shoot senior portraits, you better have a little message under that phone number. Feel free to text. If you don't, you're missing out on business. It's just a fact. So that's the contact page. We've got the portfolio. We've got the contact page. I kind of skipped over the homepage, didn't I? You should have a homepage. It goes without saying. What do you need on a homepage? It could be a couple of things. It could just be kind of a portfolio, a selection of your best images. It could certainly have some text that's a little bit about what you shoot. Not about you, but about what you shoot. Okay? The only thing I would encourage you not to do on the homepage, don't put everything on the homepage, and don't put just a picture where they have to click to get into the website. Landing pages are dead. Don't do it. It's obnoxious. It's an extra click. Do not make people jump through hoops to get your content, ever. No watermarks on the website. That should go without saying, but I know there's still some of you that are so afraid somebody's going to copy your picture, when maybe you should actually be worrying about making your work worth copying. Sorry, just keeping it real. Forget Joe Edelman. Think of the most famous, incredible, iconic photographers that you can think of that are alive today and shooting. that you admire, and then go to their websites. This is your watermark research. And let's see how many of them have watermarks. So don't take my word for it. I'm some idiot on YouTube, right? Do your own research. No watermarks. So we've got the landing page, the home page, excuse me. We've got the portfolio. We've got the contact page. What else do we need? Here's the one that kills every photographer, stops them dead in their tracks. And suddenly every photographer becomes completely illiterate and incapable of telling a story. And that is the about page. Now, a couple things about pages. Number one, there is a word that I do not want you to use on your about page, ever. In fact, I don't want you to use it anywhere on your website, unless you have a business and you legitimately hire 2, 3, 4 other people. If it's you, the word that you are not permitted to use is us. That's stupid. It's misleading. It's a lie. Don't do it. And don't you realize that for those of you that it's just you and everything is us, about us, we, that we is the second word, right? So if you don't have we, do not use we. So it's 2 words, us, we. Don't do it. You're lying to potential customers. And for the intelligent potential customers, what is the math on us and we? The math on us and we is this photographer has more overhead, meaning they cost more. Part of what I'm paying for is the fact that they have to manage a second, third, fourth person, however many. So let me just ask you, does the quality of your work present enough value that somebody's going to be willing to pay more because there's a we? We live in a time where marketing needs to be honest and transparent. And for the most part, it is, because there's this thing, it's another buzz phrase, but you may have heard of it. It's called brand transparency. This isn't about companies being honest. It's about companies not having a choice but to be honest, meaning you get found out. And then that impacts your reputation, because even though we had the internet, people still talk. And if they don't talk, they post it on Twitter. So they talk. Everybody knows, right? Period. So when you do that about page, it's you. But now here's the interesting piece, right? And I want you to listen close, because it's going to sound like I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth. And I am. But I'm being straight with you. So hear me out. Your about page is not really about you, right? So here we go. We're already starting in the circle. So wait a minute. It's the about page, but it's not about you. By the time somebody reads your about page, think about this. You've looked at other photographers' websites. You've shopped for things. Maybe for that matter, you've shopped for a plumber or an electrician, okay? The first thing you did was not go to their about page. You looked at their services, hopefully saw if they had rates, if it's after hours, do they do after hours or weekend or emergency service, that kind of stuff. Dwayne, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I'll get to your question, I promise you, before we wrap up. So the about page, when somebody gets to that about page, they've already seen your work. The fact that they clicked on that about page is a great thing. I mean, obviously, if it's, the photographer that's 5 miles down the road, we don't give a damn about them anyway, right? They're going to click, they're going to check it out. Of course, who cares, right? But we're talking about a potential customer. If they've clicked on the link for the about page, you're winning the battle. You are one step closer to the finish line, because they liked your work enough to say, I want to know who this person is. But here's what they don't want to know. They don't want to know, I've been shooting for 2 years. If you find a plumber, or if you find an electrician, or better yet, a surgeon, and their bio said, I've been at it for 2 years, are you feeling like you really want to have that person do your work? Duh. When you turn into an old fart like me and you can say you've been at it for like 52 years, hell yes, brag about it, because that kind of number says, well, they must know what they're doing because they've survived this long. But other than that, you don't brag about 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. No. Once you get over 10, all right, that's fine. Literally. But here's the thing. They don't really care about you. So they don't want to know how old you were when you started taking pictures. They don't want to know what your first camera was. They certainly don't care what brand you use now because they probably don't know the difference between a Canon, Sony, or a Nikon. So if you're going to start listing that, at least let them know, Canon users are the ones with the big muscles. Sony users are the rabid fanboys, all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, why are you putting that there? They don't care. They don't care what lenses you use. They don't care what lights you use. They don't care. They don't even really give a damn that you went to school for this, if you did, because most of you didn't. And that's okay. Neither did I, right? But I'm just saying. So then how do we write an about page where they don't really care about us? What they care about. So here, we're going in the other direction now. Hang on. They care about what is the experience going to be like. Is this person a jerk? Are they nice? Are they fun? What's it going to be like? Think about it, especially for like a bride. When a bride is looking for her photographer, she is looking for the person who is going to spend the most important day of her life with her and is going to be intimately involved with that entire day. She doesn't want some jerk. She doesn't want some slob. She wants somebody that's nice, that's compassionate, that shows empathy, somebody that she feels and is convinced is not only going to make her look amazing, but is also going to kind of have her back. She wants to know and get the feeling that that's a person who's going to be able to wrangle her entire massive wedding party, who, of course, they're going to be drunk off their brains by the time the ceremony happens. This photographer, they want to know that they're going to be able to wrangle that group. They're going to be able to keep them in order. They're going to be able to get all the pictures, and they're going to do all of this without pissing off her mother-in-law. That's what they want to know. But it's not like you can actually write that either. So how do you craft a good about page? A good about page is going to say a little bit about you. A little bit, right? That's kind of, it's a given. Not how long you've been shooting, but why you shoot. Why should you talk about why you shoot? You should talk about why you like photography because it's a way to demonstrate your passion for what you do. Please don't be the photographer that writes, "I'm passionate about photography." What does that actually mean? Right? It's a shallow word. It's an overused word. It's a cheap word. So you demonstrate passion. That people care about. That people will connect with. And you talk about why you love photography. You talk about why you shoot the things that you shoot, what it is that excites you about them. And when you're talking about what it is that excites you about them, so let's say it's the bride, you're talking about how amazing it is and how incredible an experience is to be able to spend the most important day of a young couple's life as they're starting out together, recording it, creating the book, the album that, is their fantasy day coming to life that they're going to be able to look back at for the rest of their lives and remember that incredible day. Stories. You tell stories. That's it. And that's exactly what content and content marketing is. And that carries over to your social media posts. Stop posting pictures by themselves. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You post a meme by itself. Absolutely. Because the meme's supposed to be funny. If you have to post a caption with a meme, the meme kind of sucks, right? Because you're explaining the meme, meaning it wasn't very good. But when you're posting your pictures, nobody cares. Tell a story. And, again, I'm this dude on YouTube wearing a yellow shirt or a red shirt that looks like he's a bowling shirt, right? So what do I know? Think of the most amazing photographers that you love and respect. Maybe it's Lindsay Adler. Maybe it's a guy like Joe McNally, whatever. Go look at their social media posts when they post a picture. They don't just slap a picture up there like, there it is, and expect everybody on their feed to say, "Oh my God, you're amazing." They tell you a story about it each and every time. So even though their work is incredible, top of their game, top of the industry, they don't assume that people care about their work. They don't expect that people should care about their work. They provide a reason for people to care about their work. So we've got the home page, we've got the about page, we've got a portfolio page, and we've got a contact page. Those are the 4 pages that you need in your website if you want to earn money as a photographer. Other pages that you could have a services page, but be careful with that. If you're going to have a services page, you need to describe your services in detail, and you need to make them sound interesting. Make sure that when you do a services page, and you see a lot of this on the web, and unfortunately I can't bring up a website and show you because then I'm going to get sued by that person, right? But I see a lot of photographers that have a services page, and really what the services page is, it's a no page, not KNOW, NO, capital letters, because every other statement is, no to this, no to that. You can't have this. You only get this. I won't do this. I don't do that. So it's really more of a no page. It's a venting page. Like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. You can't do this with my picture. You can't have that. I'm not giving you that. Never, never include no in the sales process. Even when you're talking to that prospect on the phone or in person, and they ask you a question, and the answer is no. Don't say no. No is a stop word. No is disappointing to that person because they want you to say yes. Your job is to give them an alternative and to explain why. Because an alternative gives them hope. Alternative still gives them a win. Why justifies the change. So in other words, instead of saying no, you're going to say, well, unfortunately, I can't do that, but I'll tell you what I can do for you. Or, well, I don't offer this because I found that this is what happens, but instead, I do offer this as an option. You never say no, period. And then the last big question on website content, and then we're actually done with that. I'm going to show you my abstract site, and we'll do Q&As because Dwayne's got a super chat here. Prices. Do not put prices on your website, ever. It is lazy. It is stupid for one simple reason. You never, capital letters, please, size of a billboard, never want people to make a buying decision while they are on your website. Because if the buying decision is no, they leave and you never get to talk to them. You never get to interact with them. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, yeah, but that's how you get rid of the tire kickers. No, you don't. You simply don't. You want people to contact you. Do not put your prices. Make sure that your work is amazing. Make sure that the experiences that you're describing are outstanding. People will contact you. Now, there is one exception where we're going to meet in the middle. Let's say you're a wedding photographer, as an example, and you live in a small town, and there's 3 other wedding photographers in your town. Not in a big city, small town. The other 3 wedding photographers in your town all have their prices on the website. You're still not going to put your prices, but you are going to create a page called prices. By the way, please don't call your prices investments. Do you want to make it sound like somebody's got to take out a mortgage to buy you or to hire you as a photographer? Whoever came up with that idea for wedding photographers to call it an investment is an idiot. It's straight up idiot. You don't invest in wedding photography. You don't invest in portraiture. You don't do that. The people that invest in photography, us, we're the fools that invest thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in gear. The customer doesn't invest, right? Stop using that word. It's the wrong meaning. But if the other 3 photographers have their prices, you'll have a page that's prices, rates, whatever, just like they do. But you're not going to put your actual prices. You're going to describe some of your services, and you are going to say, starting at, boom. And that's going to be your lowest price that you offer. And that's it. Do not put your actual prices on your website. It's lazy. You lose business that way, period. Okay? All right. So we're going to come back here. Charlie, I saw your question. I'm going to do that too. Let me do the Slick Pick site just to give you guys the update real quick, and then we'll do a Q&A. We got plenty of time because we don't have a whole lot of questions here. So just to bring you guys up to speed, I've been telling you about this web host service that I found called Slick Pick. You could make the kind of quick comparison of like a Squarespace or a Format or a Zenfollow, Pixelset, all those. Yes, but so much better. So much better. And I've been talking about it each week. I'm not going to spend a lot of time this week because I'm not done with the website, but I want to show you where I'm at. Last week, I showed you guys how easy it was for me to upload all the photos, upload my bio information, upload my logo, and then hand it over to them to do the design. So I will tell you that within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, I had the design back. And it's exactly what you're going to see with a few very, very minor tweaks. There were some spacing issues on the mobile, and I pointed that out to them. It was an oversight. They fixed those in a couple of hours. It's amazing. Like, it's the least work I've ever had to do on a website, okay? So, and I'll share the URL with you here. So I'm going to actually reload the site so you guys see it from the beginning. The site is called abstractview.photos. The concept here of what I'm building out is this will be a little side hustle business where I am going to sell images, abstract images that I have done for the purpose of wall decor. So you notice right out of the box, I'm not really featuring my art. I'm featuring my art in use. Obviously, for the sake of SEO, there is some descriptions, etc. If we go back up to the top, there is a gallery that scrolls literally forever, showing all of these various images. And then, of course, you know, people can click and they can see them large if they want. And by the way, you know, these full screen images, I want you to see how fast they're all loading, right? This is one of the things that makes this service just absolutely incredible. Generally, when you upload your images to a company like Squarespace or Zenfollow, SmugMug, Pixelset, all of them, Format, they have to make multiple versions of your photograph in different sizes. So they have them for smartphones, they have them for web browsers, they have them for big web browsers, all that kind of stuff. And then when you request to see a photo, what happens is it's going to send a file that's slightly bigger than what the website needs. And then your web browser will go ahead and squeeze it down into that space. The technology that SlickPick is using, which the only other company that I'm aware of that uses this is Google. It's serving you images dynamically on the fly. So when you click to see a picture, the web server on the other end gets a piece of information about your browser that says, these are the browser dimensions. This is the size it's going to be used at. So they're going to send down only the size that you need. The best part of it is, that means they're not sending down larger images that your browser, then your computer has to think about and resize and fit. They're only swapping as much data as is needed to be swapped, which is way cool, okay? Especially with the emphasis that Google is putting on page speed, and file sizes and all that. This is a best practices scenario for where Google is trying to go with search and how they're, you know, ranking the algorithms that they're using on search. So next up on here, I'll come back to the blog in a second, is the About Joe page, very similar to the one that I have on my Joe Edelman website. There is a contact form. You'll notice something's missing. The phone number and the email address link are not on here yet. I have not touched this since it came back, so that's okay. I'm going to have them add that in. Super simple, right? I do have a picture down at the bottom just so there's some imagery there. And there will be, this is my project for this week, so you'll get to see it next week. There will be a blog here about abstract images or abstract art as decor. This was just a blog that they copied over from my other website to create the templates for the pages and that. So, you know, when you click on it, you would have this kind of a layout. So it's unlike my website where you've got the right-hand column and all the other stuff. This is really going to be the SEO portion of this website, because these will all be about kind of home decor, using images for decorating, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. And then, there are share links at the top of the page. There are share links at the bottom of the page. And, as you can see, as we've gone through this, those nice big images, you see how fast they load. Absolutely amazing. So again, that's the update. I will share more next week because I should be pretty close to being completely done next week. But I will tell you so far, SlickPick has lived up to all of their advertising and marketing. Their bespoke plan, having them do the work, has honestly been incredible. So there is a link underneath the video that you can get 40% off of the bespoke plan on an annual basis. And the best part is that's not just for the first year, that's for the life of your account. So you're kind of grandfathered in at 40% off. So if you have any other questions about them, let me know. But so far, just to bring you guys up to speed, I'm thrilled with the work that they're doing, the way the sites work, the speed. And I can tell you that since I manage my Joe Edelman website myself, their utilities on the back end for managing this website, super simple, super easy. Even if you don't know a whole lot about working on a website and web design, it's really very intuitive. And I will share probably next week, actually, how the back end works and show you how you can make changes, and they're instant. They show up like immediately, which is kind of really cool. Okay. All right. So let me get to some of these questions that you guys had here. And Dwayne, since you had the super chat, I definitely want to hit yours first. Let's see here. I'm shooting a woman's headshots this weekend, and I normally only use a 3-light setup with a reflector. Is that overkill? I'd love to know what your go-to setup is. Thank you. So, I don't, the phrase go-to setup, you have to use carefully, Dwayne. So first of all, type back and let me know, what is this headshot for? So like, what is she going to use the headshot for? That's the first thing I need to know before I can really get into setups. All right. So type that back and I'll let you know here. Okay. From Charlie, should you put prices in a photography ad? Let's say a Mother's Day Sessions promo is showing my package prices in ad wrong. Hell yes. Because look, first of all, Charlie, I'll be honest with you. If you're talking like Facebook ads and that, like for Mother's Day, I'd be really careful about doing that because you're probably going to throw away more money than you're going to make in a deal like that. I would put more effort into trying to build up your social media following locally. I don't mean like having 1 million followers. There's no value to that. I mean, having a good following locally that are potential customers and marketing that way. If you're going to do things like Facebook or Instagram ads, make sure that you are really slicing and dicing that audience so that only people in your area are getting the ads. Otherwise, you're wasting money. But even then, don't do prices. Gang, you got to understand, and this is just the hard truth. If you want to make money as a photographer, get your head out of your butts and take amazing pictures, period. There's no amount of marketing. There's no amount of social media. There's no amount of, razzle-dazzle sales BS that is going to make bad photography valuable. There just isn't. So, yeah, when it comes to advertising, no. If you are trying to get people to buy or hire you, to buy your services or hire you based on price, come on, really? Like, that's what they do with cars. That's what they do with clothing, right? And if you're running sales, how can you run a sale? If you are creating your prices the proper way, in other words, to be able to sustain you, you can't run a sale because your price is based upon the value of your time, what you need to be able to make a living. I have never in my entire career, never discounted my rate. And I do raise my rates as inflation and cost of living goes up, but I've never discounted my rates. But I've done a lot of work for free. If I think there's some value in cutting somebody a break, I'll cut them a break by doing the job for free or charging them my rate, but giving them some other incentives, like maybe a couple free prints or something else as an incentive. but I will never lower my rate. Once you run a special and you cut your sitting fee in half or anything like that, you have now shown people the true value of your photography. It's just like for those of you that are married and have a wife that goes and shops at Kohl's, you understand this concept that I'm talking about because your wife will not shop at Kohl's. By the way, for those of you not in the United States, it's a department store. It's a really stupid department store that'll be bankrupt within a year or two because they've basically trained women, do not shop here unless you got the 30% off coupon in the mail. You talk to any woman that loves Kohl's, if she doesn't have that 30% off coupon or if they don't have cash back that week, she will not go to Kohl's. She'll wait. No matter how much you need what she's going to get, she'll wait. You don't train people what your real prices are. You have one price. That's your rate. Done. Period. Right? So yeah, don't put prices in ads. Okay. So Dwayne did follow up here. He said that the headshot that he's got to shoot for this woman is for her social media and perhaps her book. Okay. So that being said, Dwayne, in terms of, is 3 lights overkill on a reflector? No, I mean, 5 lights isn't overkill if you're creating an interesting lighting arrangement. So that's honestly how you have to look at lighting. I mean, certainly, I've done videos in the past. I know Lindsay Adler did one recently, other people do them all the time. It's like, look at what I can do with one light. All that is really, it's photographers, we're bragging. It's like, I can make cool light with one light. Okay. That doesn't make the pictures better. It's really trying to prove the point. My version of, hey, look what I can do with one light is trying to teach new photographers, don't buy 4 lights when you're starting out because you're going to suck because that's overwhelming. Buy one light and learn how to master it. Once you've mastered it, then buy the second light, right? So if you normally use 3 lights and you're using them well, then that's great. What's more important is you want to be considering this woman's age. And I don't need to know her age, but I mean, you want to be considering her age in the terms of, does she have a lot of wrinkles in her skin? Is she young? Is she old? That type of thing. You're going to choose your lighting, Dwayne, to make her look amazing. Period. That is your job, right? Because anybody that comes to you, folks, and says, hey, I need a portrait. I don't care what it's for. I don't care if it's for business, for a book, social media, to hang on the wall, whatever. Please understand what they want. They don't really want a picture of themselves. They want a picture of themselves on their best day times 10. And that's exactly what you would want if somebody was taking a picture of you, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you have a go-to lighting arrangement, Dwayne, that's 3 lights and you can do killer light with it and make this woman look amazing, that's absolutely fine. A lot of you are familiar with a Canadian photographer who I'm a big fan of. In fact, I'm going to be doing a workshop or 2 with him later this year. His name is Raphael Weigel. Everything he does is with a 3 light setup. Everything. So it's all a matter of how you like to work, what your preferred working methodology is, period. So I hope that helps, okay? Cloud Strife had a question here, pertaining to the website. You said 50-50 on video. What if it's a video testimony? I'm transitioning from Wix to SlickPick. Use link. Awesome, good. I said 50-50 on video. I don't remember talking about video, Cloud Strife. If it's a video testimony, could you use that on a website? Sure, you can use that. I mean, with any of these sites, whether it's Wix, SlickPick, any of them, basically you're going to embed that. You want to host the video on either like YouTube or host it on Vimeo. I mean, honestly, if you're going to use like video testimonies, I would host your videos on Vimeo because the branding is cleaner, and depending on which plan you purchase on Vimeo, so you will pay for that. You can customize, the player, but certainly you could have a video testimony. That's not a big deal, and there's nothing about SlickPick or honestly any of them you'd be able to embed a video. So, okay. And then Class Life wanted to say, or would this be better suited for Instagram and video testimony? It's not so much a matter. Don't look at it as a video testimony. First of all, let's be really clear, right? You need to look at it from the standpoint of what does that testimony really say to a potential customer? Is it really going to connect? Not every testimony is the same, right? There's good testimonies, there's okay testimonies, and then there's amazing testimonies. And what makes a testimony amazing is not that the person just gushes, oh my God, they're amazing. No, that's not an amazing testimony. An amazing testimony is a person that was able to really eloquently, explain why it was such a great experience working with you in ways that other people are going to understand and connect with. So unfortunately, photographers, if you haven't learned this yet, you will learn it. We could collect 15, 20 testimonies and really only have 3 that are actually valuable to us. So, you get like the Google review or the testimony, the person like, yeah, really good. Don't use that, right? That's not the point. If you were listening to my Talk Track podcast back when I was doing the podcast, I did an interview with Tracy McGlasky, who was also one of my fellow Olympus visionaries at the time. She shoots maternity and newborn, and one of the tricks that she uses, which is freaking brilliant, when she does her newborn sessions, at the end of the session, she picks up the baby and cuddles the baby and tells mom, I'll go ahead and get the baby dressed, because by that time she's usually got the baby wrapped up in all kind of stuff, right? So I'll go ahead and get the baby dressed, and she hands mom an iPad that is opened up to the Google review page for her business. And she just hands mom the iPad and says, listen, I'll go get the baby dressed. Would you mind leaving me a review? And it's the perfect time to do it, because if you read all of her reviews are about how amazing it is to work with Tracy, how wonderful she is with the kids, how great she is with the parents, what the experience is like. Very few of the reviews talk about the photographs. They talk about the things that people really care about. When you go and you get a portrait session done, when you go and you get your baby pictures done, maternity pictures, wedding pictures, they are not the product. They are the memories of the event. So if it's a portrait session, a newborn session, a maternity session, things that you're hosting, that you're doing, what they're paying you for is the experience. And so that's a way that Tracy gets them to actually review the experience, not the finished picture. The finished picture is the memory of the experience, right? That's the important piece to understand, okay? Dwayne, did I leave format? Yeah, I haven't been on format for quite a long time. Unfortunately, they started making a lot of changes. They were raising their prices. Plus now they're owned by Zenfolio. Not the same company anymore, which was disappointing. But yeah, Slick Pick is an up-and-comer. They've actually been around for, I want to say 12 years, but they are doing a lot of really, really amazing things. So I've been really stoked about them. Yeah. Richard Ferroni, sorry I missed you last Wednesday. Thanks so much for the visual storytelling event. An eye-opener with great content. Thank you very much. Glad that you enjoyed it. It was actually a really fun event. For virtual events, it was incredibly well done. So I do appreciate the kind words. Okay. All right. I think, gang, I have gotten all the questions. I did. All right. So once again, if you've made it this far, I am really sorry about the brain dead moment at the beginning of the show, but I'm glad you all stuck with it and we got to talk. Next week, we'll be back to photography. Look, I totally get it for a lot of you, and I appreciate you for it. A lot of you, you're really not into the business stuff, and it doesn't apply to you. But for those of you that are, it's information that I can share and I can help with. So that's why every so often I'd like to do these short bursts. So we'll pick up the business stuff again in the summer. I'm still going to continue, working on the Abstract View side hustle project. I will update you guys every week with where it's at. I can tell you I've already made a very substantial sale as a result of this project. So I'll explain that next week. And when I say a substantial sale, I'm talking about a $3,000 sale, not like a $50 print. Okay. So anyway, I've got one more comment here. Let's just hit on this. So get motivated. I agree with not putting your pricing in ads. You should use special pricing to get people in the door. I do ads for $9.99 for 5 to 10 sheets. Customers spend an average of $500 to $1,000 after good images. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, get motivated. If you're doing ads for $9.99 and you're getting $500 to $1,000, what you're missing out on is another $1,000 to $2,000. $9.99 is not a price for photography. It's not a price to get people in the door. So at the end of the day, if that's working for you, good for you. But all that says to me, if you and I were to sit down and break down your process, I could easily show you how to take that process starting at $9.99 that you're getting up to $1,000 because you're a good salesman. And I could easily show you how to start that at a reasonable sitting fee, maybe $75, and bringing in $2,000 to $3,000. So I wouldn't brag. I'm sorry, but in today's world, $1,000 a session is not enough to pay your bills. Just being real, gang. It's not, right? So let's do some real business math. So that's cool if it's working for you, but I will tell you right now, if you're doing that consistently, you're missing out on $1,000 to $2,000 per session. You just are. So talk to the people that are making the big bucks. They'll give you the same answer that I am, right? It's all about how you are going to present your work. And obviously, if you're able to go from $999 to $1,000, you're able to do the selling really well. So you should be starting higher, and you should tweak your process a little bit, and you'll get a lot more money. I promise you. Okay? All right, gang, listen, have a great week. Get out and take some pictures. Depending on where you are in the country, things are starting to get a little bit nicer, a little bit better weather. Here in the East, it's still pretty cold, but you know the deal. Go pick up that camera and shoot something, because your best shot, it's your next shot, gang. Adios. Take care.